think that the societal path they've laid out for most men is a sad one. I think that all men like the idea of conquest and like the idea of being high status and being rich, and they're telling you that you shouldn't be those things and you shouldn't do those things. You should just go to school, get a wife, sit at home, happy wife, happy life, and it's depressing and it's unhappy. And I promise everyone that there is a degree of happiness, but as a man, that happiness comes from freedom, and freedom does require money at some level. And you're going to have to get out there and get paid if you want to be free as an individual. And once you're free, you're going to be happy. So, yeah. But you know what? This is another thing about money. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to complain. This is going to upset all the brokies at home. There's nothing to fucking buy. Like, you buy 3 or 4 diamond watches. You buy a couple suits. You buy some cars. What else? What else is there to buy? You end up just spunking it on bottle shows and $10,000 steaks. There's nothing to buy. You can go on holiday and travel, blah, blah, blah. But if you're actually looking for physical items, things to own and buy, there ain't much to buy. Okay, you can buy property, but property is a funny one for me because I'm very anti-governmental as a person, and I think that property is one of the big tools the Matrix uses to enslave.
To keep you in the system.
Completely, man. You buy a $10 million house in whatever country, you don't want to piss off the government of that country.
Yeah, but
because you'll lose that house.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who talk about passive income, and we'll talk about passive income because I think that's the biggest scam on the planet. The idea of passive income in and of itself is a lie.
You're the first person on the podcast to say that.
bro. Yeah, no, like everyone goes, oh, I want passive income. Well, of course you do. Everyone wants passive income, but tell me how you're going to get it, because only having tenants is not passive income. Ask anybody who has tenants. It's fucking headache, right? Yeah. If I have a house XYZ, I got to make sure it's looked after, not broken into, the electricity's on, it's cleaned. I got to get someone on the ground. My assistant's got to deal with it. Now it's just got to be something to deal with. And once I got a bunch of money, what I really wanted more than anything was freedom. There's a bunch of these real high-level crypto guys, you know, like the guys who invented Ethereum and all that, the autistic guys. They don't own anything. And I kind of get that. I'm at the point now where they have a backpack of their possessions, and if they want a house, they rent it. They want a Lambo, they rent it. If I need to go somewhere, rent. I don't own anything. I don't have any hassle. Nothing's in my name. No government can take anything from me. You know, you get to a point of wealth where you kind of start thinking, do I want to have all this crap now I got to deal with? Really, you want peace of mind. And I have enough troubles in my head. I don't need to be worried about my mansion in Santa Monica, which has been broken into, and I don't even go there. Do you know what I mean? It's just long. So that's that. And then also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the Matrix. If you buy a $10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better fucking pay it, or you're gonna lose a house, right? Yeah. If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they going to do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom, it's over, right? If I had a £20 million house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240. Yeah, bailiff comes, 2 grand, 3 grand, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my £20 million house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get fucked. Safe. All right, I won't come then. Bye. And that's the problem with property. Property is a tricky one. I know you can make money with it, but you have to understand that they'll use it against you, man. It's a leverage. So I always knew I wanted to escape the Matrix before I escaped it. And let me tell you why. If COVID has not woke people up in the last 3 years, I don't know what's wrong with you. The government came along, closed your business down by force, forced you to have a medical procedure you didn't want, made you stay in your house and cover your face because of something with a 99.9% fucking survival rate. They come along and literally broke every single rule. They broke the Geneva Human Rights Convention, every single law that they wrote themselves. They just broke them all under the guise of safety. More people committed suicide from mental health issues, or more people died from missed doctor's appointments for real diseases because of this crap. They came along and did it because they were told to by someone above the government, because the government's not even in charge of anything. And now they've gone back to normal. Everyone thinks they're not going to do it again for some other reason. You think across the next 30 years they're not going to come back with some new shit? Fuck them. Next time, when they come along with this crap, I'm out. I'm bouncing. See ya. When they did this, I went to Sweden. Sweden was open the whole time. Sweden never locked down. I was in clubs in Stockholm while everyone else was here locked in their houses clapping for the NHS like a jackass. I was in the nightclub. No masks, no vaccine, no lockdown, nothing. Running around with Swedish chicks. So I just run to freedom, right? But if I had, let's say, a big property within the UK, I can't just say, fuck the UK.
Yeah.
So once you escape the matrix and you try and find a way to get your wealth outside of the system, then you can exist geographically anywhere. And once you can do that, then laws don't really apply to you. If they made a law in the UK I was unhappy with, I'd just leave. And if they made a law in Romania where I live I'm unhappy with, I would just leave. I don't have to be a law breaker. I don't have to be a criminal. I'll just go somewhere else, right? So property kind of ties you down, things tie you down. And if you look at the real high levels of wealth, if you look at the billionaires and stuff, they're trying to do the same thing. They don't own anything. They have a share in a company, which owns a shell company in the Cayman Islands, which owns this subsidiary of a company in Dubai, which owns a boat that they can use.
Yep.
It's that Aikido. It's the same thing. Get out of the matrix. That's what everyone's trying to do. You're always, as an individual, you always have to make a trade-off. And the trade-off is usually between laws and the strength of the government and the judicial system and your safety, right? This is the usual trade-off. So Dubai, which I love and I spend a lot of time in, the judicial system is extremely harsh. The laws are extremely harsh, but it's very, very safe. I'll accept that trade. If you give me a powerful government and a powerful police force, but you give me my safety to wear a $5 million watch, I'll take that all day. But you have countries like America and England where the judicial system and the police are dangerous and they can mess you up at a whim, but they don't even give you your safety. So now I have to be scared of the cops arresting me for no reason and the criminal killing me. So they don't even give me a fair trade-off. So in my view, if I'm going to live in a country with a strong judicial system and a strong legal system, I want them to provide me my safety on the street and the safety of my family. And if they don't do that, I don't see why they're seen as so strong. There's countries in Africa and Southeast Asia, etc., where the judicial system's a joke. Then fine, the streets aren't safe. The police ain't doing their job. That all makes sense to me, right? When the police are going to come along and mess you up for not wearing a mask or catch you for speeding and wreck your life, but they can't even offer you safety, then fuck them. So I decided to move somewhere else. And there are countries in the world where there's a really interesting, delicate balance of a government and a police force which are not strong. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying I'm breaking the law. I'm not saying it in that way. I'm saying that minor infractions or tiny things I'm not going to be persecuted to the end of earth I would in the UK for a parking ticket. Right? And this is what I even said. Like in Romania, you don't get parking tickets. You just fucking park. You just dump the car, nobody gives a shit, right? So it's just a different way of life over there. But at the same time, Romania and a few other countries in the world, a lot of them are in Eastern Europe, they have a strong morality because they're very religious countries. So although the police are not seen as a strong police force, they're not like the English police, they're not as well funded, they don't have as fast cars, whatever. Yeah. It's actually very safe because people just have a different view of life.
Yeah.
So it all adds up. So I moved there purely for small things, bro. Kept getting parking tickets, kept getting this, that, a letter. When you're living in the UK, bro, you get a new letter through your mailbox every day. Someone wants money for something. You did something wrong. You had some fun. Yeah, you were breathing that day. Give us money. I was just like, fuck, why am I here? Bounced. Yeah. So I just left, and I had really good friends in Romania. I went to visit and ended up staying. But I never thought I'd buy one. But then they tried to keep telling me to put a mask on. I couldn't have it. So I had to get one. And then once you get one, it completely changes how you view the world, because now you can time travel. If I wanted to fly to, let's say, Vienna from here on a normal airplane, let's say the flight's at midday, I get to the airport at 10 a.m., sit around for 2 hours, fly at 12, land at 2, another hour. By the time I do the passport, get my bag, my whole day's gone, right? Yeah. But if I want to fly to Vienna with my plane, I send a text message, say we're leaving at 12, I get there at 11:59, we take off at 12, I land, and by 12:01, the BMW's on the runway, I'm back on the motorway, right? So it literally only takes 2 hours. All the things other side are gone. It takes 2 hours to get in and out of central London in a car.
Yeah.
So I can get to Vienna, to me, going to Vienna now is the same as going to West End. It's like, cool, it's an hour, it's 2 hours, hour and a half, 30 minutes, boom, 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 whatever it is. So it changes how you view the world, and that's why I end up jumping around all over the place. Till I got something to do here, there. So it's 4 or 5 countries in a day sometimes, and you're like, bro, let's organize this thing. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing by 6 p.m. Bro. I don't know what I'm doing next week. Mike Tyson walks in here and tells you he's going to teach you how to box, and says you can't fight, you're a pussy. If that upsets you, then you can't learn, right? It's Mike Tyson. Just shut up and listen. Yeah. If someone, Richard Me, comes along and says, Andrew, you don't know shit, you're a dumbass and you're a brokey, I'm going to sit there and go, okay, maybe I'm a brokey, Elon. Tell me something. right? I'll listen, but if you're going to sit there and go, don't call me names and not listen, you're never going to get anywhere, right? You don't become the master unless you're very, very good at being a student. And I've always been very, very good at knowing when to shut up. But I've got to a point in my life now where I don't have to shut up ever. Yeah, I'm still a student of life, right? Nobody knows everything. And there's still a lot of people who I respect and will always respect and always am quiet around and treat with absolute respect. But I've been learning for a very, very long time. I've always been very, very observant, trying to pay a lot of attention. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, he has a Ferrari. Wish I had a Ferrari. And they go back to TV.
Yeah.
And that's why they lose. When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. So yes, the game is rigged. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? Why would they change it? Right? Yeah. It's also the basic of economics. I think a lot of people don't understand the true basics of economics. And the basics of economics state that even giving money to the poor, that ends up back in the hands of the rich. There's no way to stop the rich getting richer. I've already explained this before, but I remember during COVID when they did the stimulus checks and they passed out all this free money to everyone, $1,000. In England, they gave a lot more money, but in America, everyone got like $1,400 each and everyone was happy about it, saying, oh, he's giving money to the poor. Yeah, but what do those poor people spend that money on? Amazon stock tripled because they all went to Amazon.
Yep,
so Jeff Bezos got richer, right? But the fact is that there's less companies than there are people. All those $1,400 checks amongst all those people at the bottom ended up in the hands of a few companies. And the rich got richer, and you can't stop it. Doesn't matter if those people invested their money, doesn't matter if they bought stocks, doesn't matter if they bought crypto, doesn't matter if they bought a house, whatever. The people who have the assets and have the companies and have the control are always going to end up getting control of the currency, and they're always going to be richer. So that's kind of how it works. And it's getting worse and worse. It's have-nots and have-yachts. Yeah, and that's another thing about opportunities, right? Because you have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. It doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. So you've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to a degree, right? I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems, even when I was going to school and they're sitting there going, you're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades, I was the one sitting there going, you're a liar, shut up. I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now. But I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're at a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree. Because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, I want to make money, so I go to university. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues.